It's a fifth line day. Hello, we're in gate 14, and the fifth line is called Arrogance. The first line is about the nature of the hexagram, and the fifth line is how the world wants to see it expressed. The fifth line is in resonance to the second line, and we saw that the second line projects out that power, but it doesn't necessarily have it. The fifth line, this is where we come to the field that is being projected upon. And this line is called Arrogance, with the lifetime learning, the ever-present risk inherent in positions of power. This doesn't mean you are in a position of power. It means that everybody assumes that you're in a position of power. When you meet a 14-5, you assume that they're powerful. This is how you project onto their energy. They may or may not actually be powerful. So here we have our fifth line, our general heretic. And we already know that this is a power position. All fifth lines are exalted. They're exalted because they hold within them the dream of the potential of the hexagram. The basis of this hexagram, its true nature, is that money isn't everything. The mutation has to count. And when you get to the fifth line, what society sees here in this 14th gate is arrogance. This is what society is projecting onto them. Oh, they've got the juice. They've got all the power. I don't like them. Or they've got the juice. They've got the power, and I really want to be like them. You know, it's that kind of mutative, anti-mutative process. In the exaltation, it says innate dignity. Innate dignity, that is the key to power. Ra said that if you're really poor and your life's a mess, dignity is a difficult piece of business. If you're a freak and you're poor and your life's a mess, dignity is practically impossible. If you're an individual and you're poor and nobody knows who you are and nobody knows what you mean and nobody wants to have anything to do with you, dignity is the last thing that you have. So this innate dignity, which sounds so wonderful, you know, it says innate, it's in there already. Yeah, well, maybe it's in there as long as you're sleeping on a clean bed and you've got enough food to eat. The individual that is at the mercy of the world can be a really sad person, because looking after themselves is what is so important for individuality. Usually what they do is they marry the farmer's daughter, and that's going to make their life easier because that's their back door into the tribe. It's their access to the material plane. And then they have their foundation, so they can be their individual, bizarre self. When you've been accepted into the tribe and you're the freak and you're bringing in bizarre genes to enrich and enhance the gene pool, it's okay. It's kind of expected of you to be different. You know, they're going to say, well, he came from the outside, you know, he came from that other village. They do things very weirdly in that other village. The only protection for an individual who is projected upon as being powerful is that they better mind their P's and Q's, because otherwise, you know, other people are going to gang up on them and they're going to check out that power and just see how long it's going to take them to build a pyre. In the detriment, a dissatisfaction with the gifts of others that creates feelings of superiority. Innate recognition of those without power, fueling the illusion of superiority. Gate 2 is an incredible gate. It's where the magnetic monopole is. It's where our geometry is, our movement in space. The G center is not a motor though. And the 14, it's sitting there and it's saying, well, you may be the identity, baby, but you've got no juice. It's just me. I'm it. You want some of my juice? You're going to have to be nice to me. And this is the arrogance of the 14-5, or the potential that is always within it, because it's the one that knows that everybody expects it to provide the power. You know, it's the other that actually creates the arrogance field. And remember that the importance of dignity here is that the 5 will maintain its dignity when it uses its power in a time of crisis for a practical solution. If you're the one that everyone needs, in order to go from this place to that place, it could build up a little bit of resentment. But if your child has to be rushed into hospital and they're the one that's going to do it for you because they've got the practical solutions, they're the only ones who've got the power, and it's a crisis. Oh, you might not like them very much, but in some respects, you're also going to think they're pretty wonderful. Ra said that individuals are not here to be loved, in a way, and maybe without being too serious about that, but they're not the teddy bears, unless they're a bear who's very individual, and he's very lovable, but they're not the kind of cuddling up type in a way. So it's not like everyone is running around saying how great they are. They tend to be the kind of beings that make people uncomfortable, actually. It's the individual activations in your design are places where people can be a little bit, oh, really? Everyone knows that evolution takes place. Well, maybe not everyone, but many people realize that evolution happens, mutation happens, but at the same time, nobody really wants to experience it in their lifetime because it's as scary as hell. This is the whole program, really, where you see how everything works. All of a sudden you get mutated. You've seen how it works, and yet it's crumbling. And people don't like that, of course. Nobody wants change. Humanity doesn't really want change. We need change. We have to go through periods of evolution, of mutation, but that doesn't make it comfortable. And that's why there's a little bit of anxiety around 2027, even within the human design community, because we know something's coming. We can feel it. We can see it already starting to express in the world, but we don't really know what's going to happen on the other side of it, and it's uncomfortable. So have a mutation, you have to start all over again. You have to figure out how things work. And you have to admit that that part of you that was there before the mutation, oh, it's redundant now. It doesn't work anymore. And of course, people don't want that about themselves. So it's not like they're going to embrace the individual every time that mutative force comes into their process. It's not like embracing the individuality in our own designs. We're not very good at doing that sometimes because we have gates that we sort of kind of don't really want to talk about because they're a bit weird and we don't really understand how they work, or they make other people feel uncomfortable. So we have this experience going on all the time. The grounding, the fifth line of gate 5 is called Dharma. And this is a real process for all fifth lines to learn, and that is that their contribution can only be made at special times when it's correct, when there is a crisis and you have the perfect practical solution. This is an absolute given for every fifth line. If you have the line of arrogance and that is correct for you, then it's your path. When the timing is right for you to play that role, whether it's in the detriment or the exaltation. So the moon has been in gate 56 since 7:13 this morning, the gate of the wanderer, the throat gate in abstract circuitry. It moves into gate 31 at 17:31, the gate of leading, of influence. This is the logical collective circuit. And we have that beautiful dance going on from the 62 across to the 56 and down to the 31 and across to the 33. And then tomorrow it goes back to the 7. It's such a beautiful, it's almost a spiral when you look at it, if you were to look at it in 3D. It's abstract to logic and abstract to logic. Gate 31 is a projector gate. Leadership comes through invitation and recognition. And then it leads into retreat and privacy in the gate 33, rather, at what time is that? 3:59 tomorrow morning, which is another projector energy. So once the leadership role is done, you can be invited to retreat and reflect on your experiences, logic to abstract. And it's the expression of these energies too, because these are all throat gates. So this is us, that's the fifth line done. We are at the top of the hexagram tomorrow, another sixth line coming around. And I believe it's a double Sunday tomorrow. So we will have 14 in the line 6 in the morning. I'm just going to check this on my crafty Excel sheet, 1 moment caller? Yes, it is. So we have the 14 line 6 at 0037, and then we have the 34 line 1 at 22:54. So yeah, lots going on tomorrow. I will see you then. Until then, as always, look after yourself.